Part 84. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 835. Although he was severely ridiculed by the Prince of Wales, Qin Ji did not feel aggrieved. After all, the trip that he originally planned to spend his own money on became a trip at public expense. How could he be aggrieved by this kind of thing? After confirming some matters, Qin Ji and Belfast said goodbye to the Prince of Wales, and they returned to the guest house together. Unexpectedly, as soon as he walked into the door of the guest house, he saw Bismarck, Yuxian, and others talking in the lobby. "Hey, Bismarck, Yuxian. Didn't you go to negotiate cooperation with Dong Huang this morning? Why are you back now? What problem did you encounter?" Qin Ji approached and asked. "It turns out to be the commander. Judging from your appearance, you must have returned from giving lectures in the lecture hall," Yuxian said with a smile. Qin Ji nodded. "Yes, let's talk about your affairs first. Actually, we have completed all cooperation negotiations and have signed cooperation projects, so we are back," Bismarck said. "Ah," Qin Ji was a little surprised. "Don't it usually take several days to complete according to the past situation?" The reason why it was so fast is because Dong Huang agreed to all the cooperation conditions we basically proposed, and they didn't have many requirements for us. They were basically within a reasonable range, so the signing was very fast, Bismarck said. Qin Ji was stunned for a moment, then smiled. "Although we just briefly talked about it yesterday, it seems that they are indeed fulfilling their promise, and we must not let them down. This is natural, and Dong Huang also shared their transformation technology for Anshan and Changchun. Although the above only mentioned the method of the power of the four symbols, but by analogy, I think it will be useful for war exhaustion and Santiago's transformation in the future." "It helps a lot," Bismarck said. "Yes," Qin Ji nodded. "When the time comes, you will pass this technology to Helena and ask her to start researching it in the port area and implement this technology as soon as possible." "Understood," Bismarck nodded. "How was the commander's lecture today? What did he cover?" asked Yuxian at the side. "It didn't teach them much knowledge, it just helped them sort out their mentality," Qin Ji said. "Indeed, sometimes it is more useful to adjust your mentality than to master more knowledge. Especially since Dong Huang has just experienced such a tragic battle, their mentality determines Dong Huang's future destiny," Yuxian said. "By the way, besides that, I also told the Prince of Wales that we were going to travel in the future." Qin Ji touched his nose. "In the end, she lectured me." "Huh," Bismarck frowned. "Commander, what exactly is going on?" Qin Ji waved his hand. "It's not her fault, it's my lack of thinking. I want to take the train with everyone, walk around the more famous scenic spots in Donghuang, take some photos and buy some souvenirs as a souvenir." "All right. But the Prince of Wales told me some important points to pay attention to when traveling to the inland areas, because there is not much publicity about ship girls and sirens, and how to solve various problems if there are any problems during the tour. I think she's right. So this time we changed from a self-funded trip to a public trip, and the Prince of Wales also informed Yuxian to ask the inland departments to make special exceptions for us to avoid unnecessary problems." Bismarck nodded. "So Wales is afraid that we will conflict with the people in the interior, right? That's pretty much what it means. After all, people along the coast are very accustomed to ship girls, so they can also get to know ship girls and people dressed as commanders, and they will keep a distance and respect them. However, there is relatively little publicity in this aspect in the mainland, and some misunderstandings may arise. For example, it is not impossible to say something rude when I see you are beautiful. It's okay for you guys like Yitsun, but if you put it in a genre like Akagakaga, I always feel that something bad will happen. So in order to avoid these things from happening, I agreed. Even if it attracts more attention, it doesn't matter. At least it won't cause anything." Qin Ji said. Haha, I feel like the commander is a little tired, Yuxian said with a smile. Qin Ji smiled and said, no, it's just my responsibility as a commander. And I proposed the trip, so in order to allow everyone to travel without worries, I should do the preparations well. Then when shall we set off? Bismarck asked. It will take about 2 days. After all, Yuxian still has to contact the mainland, so I believe it won't be so soon, Qin Ji said. I think based on today's situation, it will probably take less than 2 days, Bismarck said with a smile. The commander should inform everyone in advance so that everyone can be prepared. If it happens earlier, everyone can set off immediately. Qin Ji was startled, then nodded. What you said is really possible, so I won't talk to you anymore. You should hurry up and prepare. By the way, Yuxian would like to inform the people in Donghuang that I will just go to Musashi and Nagato and inform them to prepare. Clear. After bidding farewell to Bismarck and Yuxian, Qin Ji did not return to the room, but went directly to Musashi and Nagato's room to inform them. After getting this information, both of them understood. In fact, for them, it doesn't matter what the form is. After all, as superiors, they are used to others' attention. As long as they can travel with Qin Ji, it will be no problem. After receiving responses from Musashi and Nagato, Qin Ji felt relieved and immediately went to notify the Sea Legends and camp leaders who followed him, respectively, before finally returning to the room to rest. The next day, the Prince of Wales came to the guest house again. This time her purpose was not to invite Qin Ji to give lectures, but to bring the promise she had said yesterday. It was completed so quickly, Qin Ji asked in surprise. After all, in his opinion, this was a very complicated process. He did not expect that it could be solved so quickly. Yes, don't underestimate our work efficiency. Although the coastal and inland areas belong to 2 different systems, they are very closely connected. Although things like yours are very important, they are not very difficult. Do it, said the Prince of Wales. So how are we going to get there? Qin Ji asked. Train, and this train is a special train just for you. Except for the necessary driver, there is no other person on the train, the Prince of Wales said, and after every stop, there will be people from the local office to receive you. We will arrange the itinerary and hotels for you, so all you have to do is tour. Qin Ji took a breath. Sure enough, there is some pomp and circumstance. Isn't that necessary? My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 836. In the spring morning, the sunshine is warm and the light breeze blows on your face. It is a suitable time for spring outing. The originally noisy Shenhua railway station suddenly became quiet due to the arrival of a group of people. It is not unusual to see K-Shippon girls at the train station, but if you see nearly 100 K-Shippon girls at the train station, it is definitely something you have never seen before. Sure enough, I feel a little bit of attention from now on. Qin Ji looked around at the people looking at his position, touched his nose and said, haha, as a superior, a commander must get used to being watched by others, and must maintain the most perfect posture at all times. Only in this way can he be respected by others and have the majesty of a superior. After all, you now not only represent yourself, but also our entire port area, as well as all the commanders and ship girls. Musashi stood beside Qin Ji, giving guidance like a teacher. Qin Ji didn't refute or didn't understand. After all, his attitude towards outsiders was different from his attitude towards his own ship girl. You can put down your attitude towards your ship girls and play with them. But when dealing with outsiders, you must pay attention to your posture and etiquette. Although he is just a commander now, he has actually become the leader of the camp that exists side by side with the other 9 camps. He must pay attention to these things both emotionally and rationally. This is not only about face, but also about the interests of your own fleet in the future, so you can't be careless. What's more, in the future, he will have another identity. At that time, he will have to face other intelligent beings in the star sea. He must get used to it from now on, so that he will not be embarrassed by that time. I understand, and I will learn to adapt to this. Brother Chin nodded and said to Musashi. Musashi nodded with satisfaction. As he got along with Chin-ji, he became more and more satisfied with his commander. Although she has heard about some stupid things her commander did in the past, for her, if she can correct her mistakes and gradually mature, she is an excellent commander. Others on the other side had no objection to what Musashi said to Chin-ji. Even Bismarck nodded, obviously agreeing with it. But having said that, is that train in the distance? It looks very long, almost longer than our ship, Veneto said, looking at the train parked in the distance. Chin-ji followed Veneto's gaze and saw that there was indeed a train parked there. The familiar car body reminded Chin-ji of the Harmony for a moment. I didn't expect the trains in this world to be so developed. Also, with things like Rubik's Cube energy, it would be a joke to use steam locomotives. Chin-ji said with a smile. It seems that the Donghuang mainland is not as bad as we thought. I believe there must be a lot of people there, Ruhi said with a smile. Well, that's what I originally thought, but when I suddenly saw this extremely high-tech train, I guess I underestimated it. But since land transportation is so developed, why not develop air transportation? If there is Rubik's Cube energy as a condition, airplanes are not fly faster, Chin-ji asked doubtfully. Commander, you may have forgotten that this is a coastal area, but there is a siren fleet here. If the aircraft dares to fly here, if a siren carrier-based aircraft appears on the way, it will definitely be an accident with fatalities. Bismarck said. Chin-ji was stunned for a moment, then smiled. I ignored the fact that this is a battlefield. A few people were laughing and chatting when suddenly Chin-ji felt something hit him. Then Chin-ji looked behind him and saw Ryu looking at him pitifully. Not far away, there was a face that was ruined. Feeling Matsuki and others. Commander, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Ryu looked at Chin-ji with tears in her eyes, holding her collar with her little hands, looking embarrassed. Chin-ji couldn't help but smile, knelt down and touched Ryu's head. It's okay, did it hurt just now? No, Ryu quickly shook her head. As Matsuki's younger sister, Kisaragi is very afraid of strangers, but she also doesn't like to be alone. I usually envy my sister's cheerful personality, and I have been trying hard to open up and make friends with everyone, but because of my timidity, I always mess up some things intentionally or unintentionally. Chin-ji smiled, so what were you doing just now? At this time, Matsuki ran over and said to Chin-ji, Commander, we also wanted to see that big train, so we wanted to run to the front to see it, but Ryu accidentally hit you. Chin-ji understood instantly, so that's what happened. Although the idea is good, there are more people here and we have more time, so we can walk slowly instead of running in such a hurry. And fortunately, Ryu bumped into me. If she fell to the ground and was injured, it would be a big problem. Do you understand? Yes, the Matsuki-class destroyers nodded quickly. This scene made the onlookers smile knowingly. After Chin-ji finished speaking, he picked up Ryu, held him up with his strong arms, and then walked towards the train. Have you seen Ryu? This is the train, isn't it much bigger than the cars you usually see? Woolen cloth. Yes, Commander, and the commander is so tall, we can see very far. Ryu's pitiful expression shrank, revealing a curious expression. At this time, a group of destroyers also gathered around. Originally, Chin-ji stood beside Musashi and the others, so that they did not dare to be too presumptuous, but now Chin-ji's behavior towards Ryu also made their minds active. Commander, can that train accommodate many people at one time? Mikazuki asked. Commander, are we going to take a train like that this time? Chao was also very excited. "Commander, that train is so big, can I sleep in it?" Bai Lu asked. Suddenly, many questions quickly surrounded Qin Ji, which made him feel a little overwhelmed. But facing the curious and enthusiastic questions from the destroyers, Qin Ji answered them one by one. Until Ayanamai came closer to Qin Ji and pulled his clothes. "Commander, our ship girl can change the ship, so can the train also change into another shape?" Qin Ji was stunned and said, "No, absolutely not. In addition to becoming brave train men, these trains will never become train girls." "Iron Train Man," Lingbo tilted her head and looked at Qin Ji. "Ahem, that's the animation I watched when I was a kid." "Well, it's the character in the TV series," Nagashima's favorite Qin Ji coughed and explained. "The name sounds so cool, Iron Man Train Man, otherwise I will call him Iron Man Ayanamai from now on," Ayanamai said expressionlessly. Qin Ji rolled his eyes, "Please don't." "Oh. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 837. While playing with the destroyer, a middle-aged man in a blue military uniform appeared in front of Qin Ji. He saluted Qin Ji and said, "Hello, are you Commander Qin Ji?" Qin Ji was stunned when he saw the military uniform he was wearing, and then quickly put RUU on the ground and returned a military salute to the man. "Hello, I am Qin Ji. I believe you must be what the Prince of Wales said before. Chief of Staff Chiyuki, right?" "Yes, I am Chiyu." Commander Qin Ji is indeed as Commander Yuxian said, he is majestic and powerful, and he is like a dragon or a phoenix among men, Chiyu said with a smile. Qin Ji smiled and said, "Commander Yuxian went too far. I cannot be called a dragon or a phoenix among people. Commander Qin Ji is so humble. There is no one who can let Commander Yuxian personally contact the mainland and arrange a series of welcoming measures in so many years. You are the first," Chiyu sighed, "although I don't you belong to the commander system, but traveling between the coast and the inland, I have heard a lot of information recently circulated from the Maritime Safety Administration, so I have heard a little about your name. When Dong Huang encountered danger, he led a fleet to go deep into the rescue and successfully resolved the crisis, and also helped other camps. This is what our system needs to select for combat heroes. So personally I am quite excited to be able to host you this time. So these latter are your ship girls, right?" Qin Ji nodded, "Yes, it was precisely because of their heroic fighting that the previous aid was successful." "Understood, in that case, let's go to the train first. Follow the orders of Commander He Yuxian, and I will be your driver for the next time. We will coordinate the railway lines to ensure that Commander Qin Ji and you the ship girl has a smooth journey," Chiyu said. "Then thank you, Staff Officer Chi. This way please." Under the leadership of Chiyu, everyone walked across the platform together and came to a train that was shorter than other trains. This train is composed of 3 soft sleeper carriages, 1 hard seat carriage and 2 dining car carriages. It has been prepared with things you may encounter on the road, and the front of the train I am on is suitable for the carriages behind it to be completely enclosed. So I won't disturb you, and I hope you have a pleasant journey, Chiyu introduced. "Thank you so much. Please excuse me, Counselor Chi." Qin Ji smiled and thanked him. "It doesn't matter, this is what we should do. Before that, I want to ask Commander Qin Ji, where do you want to go as the first stop? After all, I have to contact the railway headquarters and ask them to give it to me separately. The train draws a line to avoid collision with other trains," Chiyu said. Qin Ji smiled and said, "Let's go to the Northern Kingdom, and then go to the Mongolian territory, the border territory, the Tibetan territory." "Understood, Then the first stop is the North Country. I will also plan the subsequent route. Then please ask Commander Chin Ji and your ship girl to get on the bus now. I will contact you immediately. The exact time will be notified to you via broadcast, Chi Yu said. Clear. After some tossing, everyone got on the train, some went to the sleeper car, and some went to the hard seat car. Chin Ji, Belfast, and others came to the dining car together. The commander seems to have already arranged our route. We didn't even have time to ask before Musashi asked. Yes, actually I had two plans before, Chin Ji said with a smile, but the starting point of both plans is the same, which is to go to the northernmost place of Dunhuang in the North Country. Although it is still April, it was a bit cold, so we headed south all the way, following the footsteps of spring. By the time we reached Ufu, it was already summer. But what I told Staff Officer Chi before was another route, especially after I saw this train. Haha, it's true. The route the commander mentioned is a place with vast land and sparsely populated areas, which is very suitable for viewing the scenery. If what we see on the sea is the same color of sea and sky, then what we see when we go to the border and Tibetan areas, yes, that is the scene where the sky and the earth are connected into one. Zhenhai nodded and said. Obviously, as the Donghuang ship's wife, she understood the meaning of the route chosen by Qin Ji very well. The bright moon rises above the Tianshan Mountains, between the vast sea of clouds, and the wind blows tens of thousands of miles across Yumen Pass. Hai Tian sang with a smile, I never thought that as a ship, I could really appreciate the scenes written in Li Bai's poems. It's really exciting. Well, is it so interesting? Veneto asked from the side. Yes, Yuxian nodded, I have also read some documents during this period. Although I have never been to the Tibetan area or the Tibetan area, I think the scenery there is comparable to that of the Alps. Oh, if that's the case, that would be very interesting, Veneto said with interest. Bismarck and Richelieu were also very interested. Having said that, Donghuang is indeed a vast land with rich resources and different scenery. For example, for Chongsakura, only Mount Fuji is more famous, and the rest are only some hot springs and plains. Magi said. How should I put it? Every place has its own unique scenery. It is precisely because of this that our world is so precious and worthy of our efforts to protect it, Qin Ji said with a smile. Haha, what the commander said is indeed true. New Jersey smiled, I'm looking forward to the trip to the mainland. I don't know when we can set off. It should be very soon. As the staff officer Chi said before, I believe the stations in the mainland are already ready and the lines will be deployed soon, Kronstadt said. Not long after a few people were chatting, the radio in the dining car rang. Commander Qin Ji, this is Chi Yu. The route has been arranged. We will leave on time at 10:30 in the morning. We are expected to arrive in Baguio at 18 this afternoon. Staff have been arranged to receive you on time. I wish you and your ship girl the best. Have a great trip. The train leaves on time at 10:30. Can we reach the Northland in 8 hours? It is much faster than sailing by sea, Richelieu sighed. That's what railways are like, not to mention that the train we built is powered by a Rubik's Cube. If the physical endurance of the passengers were not taken into consideration, I believe the speed could be faster, Qin Ji said. Indeed, Commander, how about we take a plane when the time comes? As a battleship, I have never seen the Earth from a high altitude. I believe there will be a different scenery, right? Bismarck asked, with a trace of expectation in his eyes. Okay, anyway, this time we are traveling at public expense, so we are not afraid of spending money, Qin Ji said with a smile. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu Ji. Chapter 838. When the time came to 10:30, the train started on time, or it is no longer appropriate to take it by train. It is also possible to describe this train as the high-speed rail of the past world. As the scenery outside the window quickly receded, Both sides of the car window were filled with ship girls. They looked at the retreating scenery outside the window and talked a lot, their eyes full of joy and curiosity. As battleships, the most common scenery they see is the sea and sky. They have never seen such a scenery full of land and farmland as far as the eye can see. As the train traveled, it traveled from the vibrant south to the north where spring had just sprouted. Then in the afternoon, there was no green at all. Even when everyone arrived in the north, there was actually heavy snowfall in the sky. Sitting like this, everyone on the train was amazed. When the train stopped, Qin took his wife and got off the train. He saw Qiyu had come down and was standing with a young woman with the rank of lieutenant in army uniform. The young woman's eyes lit up when she saw Qin, and then she quickly stepped forward and saluted him with a military salute. "Hello, Commander Qin, welcome to the North Kingdom. My name is Sun Ying. I have been ordered to welcome you and your ship girl." "Hello," Qin responded with a military salute and said, "I'm causing trouble for you." "It's no trouble. Although I didn't go to Linhai without you, Commander Qin name is still widely known in our army. So this time, my superiors sent me to receive you." "I am very honored," Sun Ying smiled. Qin was stunned for a moment, but Sun Ying really praised him. Although he had never been to the mainland, he was a member of the military system before and knew this kind of scene very well. Then he said, "Lieutenant Sun has given you too much praise." "No, in fact, I am originally from the coast. I wanted to go to the Commander Academy to study and become a commander. However, due to my poor adaptability to the Rubik's Cube, I was unable to become a commander. However, I was not willing to just be a commander. Logistics or scientific research personnel were in the Navy, so they rejoined the Army," Sun Ying explained. "That's why I particularly admire commanders like Commander Qin who go to the front line of combat. I know your deeds very well." Qin smiled and said, "Thank you very much. Although you did not become a commander, you are still a very good soldier now." "Haha, thank you Commander Qin for the compliment," Sun Ying said with a smile, like a little fangirl. Qiyu on the side said, "Lieutenant Sun, it's better not to chat for the time being. It's getting late now and it's freezing cold. Let's make arrangements for Commander Qin and his ship's wife first. Anyway, you will lead the team to meet them tomorrow. We have plenty of time to visit here together." "That's right, I couldn't help myself." "I'm sorry," Sun Ying smiled and said to Qin, "Then come Commander Qin and me. The car is ready and we can go to the hotel at any time." "Sorry for bothering you too," Qin said with a smile. Chatting with Sun Ying along the way, everyone took the prepared bus to the hotel and settled down. Early the next morning, everyone became excited, because according to the results of Qin and Sun Ying's discussion last night, they would go to the ice and snow world today. "I heard that there was a building completely carved out of ice and snow." Everyone was looking forward to it and wanted to see what it looked like. Not long after breakfast, everyone got in the car and headed to their destination together. As soon as we got off the bus at the place, the destroyers let out exclamations of exclamation. Because in front of them were various buildings and sculptures carved entirely from ice, accompanied by flashing colorful lights and snowflakes dancing in the sky, the whole scene was like a dream, which was a sight they had never seen before. "What a beautiful place!" New Jersey, who was following Qin, exclaimed, "I didn't expect to see such a scene in April. This world is so amazing." "Haha, it's true," Qin nodded, "maybe it's because we are used to the climate in the Guam port area. The further north we go, the lower the temperature becomes. I believe it will be the same over here in Northern United." "Absolutely. I've been in the Northern United before, but it's not the Northern United in this world. But I believe the climate is similar. The ice and snow don't melt until June there. But it doesn't take long, it's almost October." "It started to drop again and turned into ice and snow," Kronstadt said. "Well, Haha, it is precisely because of this that we have to stay in Donghuang and Chongying for a while. We will see then. If we don't have enough time to visit Donghuang, we can go to Chongying later. Anyway, before June, head from Chongying to Northern United, Qin Ji said. I don't have any objections to this. Compared to Donghuang, Chongying is still too small, and if you just travel, the scenery is relatively simple, far less rich than Donghuang, Musashi said with a smile. Obviously she also liked the scenery here. Very satisfied. Although I say that, April and May are the cherry blossom viewing seasons. Let's try our best to rush there by then. After all, this is the agreement between you and me, Qin Ji said with a smile. Musashi smiled and nodded. Commander, stop talking in silence. Let's go inside and take a look. The destroyers have already entered. They will be dispersed and it will be difficult to gather, he said with a smile. No problem, but since there are a lot of people here, everyone should try to stay close to our port area and the ship girls who have transformed into ships. They have a soul connection with me and can sense my position. Even if everyone gets separated by then, we can get back together quickly. Qin Ji said with a smile. Clear. The next time belongs entirely to the ship girls, or rather to the destroyers and submarines. Of course, some cruisers were also having a great time. The laughter of the cruisers could be heard throughout the park, causing some tourists to look askance. Of course, some of them saw the beautiful ship girl trying to strike up a conversation, but just when they took action, someone in casual clothes stepped forward to stop them in time, and showed the corresponding ID, so that they retreated. Qin Ji naturally saw such a situation, and his heart was relieved for a moment. Although he was not worried that his ship girl would be abducted by others, if his inappropriate words made his ship girl angry, he would. I don't want the ice and snow park here to turn into a scene of fire. Commander, don't look at it. Don't worry. There are many people wearing casual clothes like that among these tourists, so let's go and have fun together. My sister has discovered something interesting. Atago smiled and said to Qin Song said. Okay, Qin Ji nodded and followed Atago and the others towards the depths of the park. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu Ji. Chapter 839. Chilichuan, at the foot of Yinshan Mountain. The sky is like a dome, covering the surrounding fields. The sky is blue and the fields are vast. The wind blows the grass and you can see the cattle and sheep. Hai Tian said, looking at the grassland in front of him. It's a pity that we came at the wrong time. The current pasture is not high yet. Haha, Hai Tian can go and tell the commander. After all, you are his wedding ship. I believe he will come with you to watch it when the time comes, Yuxian said with a smile. Ah, Yuxian, don't laugh at me. How is that possible? Hai Tian blushed. Commander is already very busy. If he comes here just for me, even if he is willing, I won't. Moreover, 9 out of 10 things in this world are regrettable. It is impossible to satisfy everyone. Now, as a battleship, it is very happy to be able to go inland and see the scenery of the grassland. That's right. The fate of a battleship belongs to the sea. If it weren't for the commander, we probably wouldn't be here in our lifetime, right? Ning Hai said with a smile. Just as the women were sighing, a brisk sound of horse hooves appeared behind them. Turning his head to look, it turned out that Qin Ji was riding a strong horse and was stopping next to a few people. What are you talking about, so serious? Qin Ji held the reins and said to several people. Haha, it's nothing, I just sighed when I looked at the grassland. The commander looks very brave on the horse, but don't be anxious, it's better to go slower, Yuxian said with a smile. Ha, it doesn't matter. Although I'm not as good at fighting as you, riding a horse is still not a problem for me, Qin Ji said with a smile. Which of you wants to come up and give it a try? Several people looked at each other. Although they all wanted to go up, they still behaved more reservedly for the sake of face. At this moment, Yuxian saw a figure sneaking up in the distance, so he pushed Haitian and said, "Commander, why don't you take Haitian for a spin?" Qin Ji smiled and said, "Haha, that's no problem. Haitian, hold my hand." Haitian was stunned for a moment. After all, she had just been pushed out by Yuxian. Before she could react, she saw Qin Ji stretching out his hand. However, the situation had become such that Haitian could only reach out and hold Qin Ji's hand, and was pulled onto the horse by him in a daze. "Haitian, you have to hold on tight. The speed may be a bit fast later. Don't fall because you can't hold on tightly. Although I will always protect you," Qin Ji said, hugging Haitian's waist. "Yes, Commander, it's better to go slower," Haitian said shyly. "Haha, no problem," Qin Ji smiled and then pulled the reins. "Drive." As the voice fell, the horse ran lightly in the direction Qin Ji was pulling. Looking at Qin Ji leading Haitian away, Zhao He asked with some confusion, "Yuxian, why are you pushing Haitian out and you are still in such a hurry?" Zhao He smiled at Yang Rui beside him, "Haha, didn't you see who was coming?" Zaya He followed Yang Rui's gaze and saw a figure not far away stepping angrily on the grass, then turned around and left angrily. "Dai Feng," Zaya He asked confused, "but what does this have to do with her?" Yang Rui looked helpless, and Yuxian on the side smiled and said, "There are many people in our port area who are staring at the commander. Although we come out with the commander now, there are times when opportunities have to be fought for by ourselves. If I hadn't pushed out Haitian Lai just now, Dai Feng would have come to take this position and occupy the commander's time. After all, people are selfish, and I hope you can occupy more of commander's time, so work hard." "Ah," he said angrily, "is that it? I thought it was a big deal. Whoever likes the commander can just take it? It has nothing to do with me." Listening to this standard arrogant speech, all the girls on the Donghuang ship laughed. On the other side, Qin Ji led Haitian not far away and saw Mayoko Hinata and others riding together. "Commander's riding skills are quite good," Hinata said with a smile to Qin Ji. "He, I didn't expect that I would be talented in horse riding," Qin Ji said with a smile. "Haha, how about a few of us competing to see who can ride faster," Miao Gao said with a smile. Qin Ji quickly shook his head, "No, I know my depth. It's okay to ride slowly like this. If I can ride faster than anyone else, it won't be me. And I'm taking Haitian with me, so that's even worse no more." "Well, that's true." Hinata looked at the shy Haitian and nodded, "Then let's leave first, Commander, ride slowly." "Okay." Qin Ji nodded and watched Miao Gao Hinata whip his horse and rush out. "Commander, actually you can go with them," Haitian said hesitantly. Qin Ji smiled and said, "But I promised to come to Donghuang to accompany you. Because we were in the city all the time, we were together, so we didn't have time. Now that we are on the grassland, we can play here for a few more days. I can stay with you separately." "Commander, I still remember it." "I thought you had forgotten it," Haitian said with a smile. "How could you forget?" Qin Ji smiled and touched Haitian's hair, "I don't have too many things to be busy with now. If I can't even remember these things, I will be struck by lightning." "Don't say such things, Commander." Haitian turned his head and reached out to cover Qin Ji's lips. "Now I am satisfied to be able to enjoy these quiet days with the commander, and I don't dare to ask for anything else." Qin Ji held Haitian's hand and said with a smile, "I won't say such words anymore. It is true that these words are a bit wasteful in the current beautiful scenery, so it is better to say something meaningful. Haha, let me tell you what the commander thought of when he mounted the horse," Haitian said with a smile. "Haha, of course I galloped on this grassland with my horse and whip. I heard a song before, it's a very old song, I think it is very suitable for the current situation," Qin Ji said with a smile. What song is it? Commander, can you sing it for me? Hai Tian asked curiously. Although my singing is a bit bad, since Hai Tian asked for it, I will show my shame. Qin Ji cleared his throat and shouted to the horse to walk slowly. Let us be the companions of the mortal world and live a leisurely life, galloping horses, sharing the prosperity of the world. Drinking and singing, singing the joy in your heart, vigorously, and grasping the youth. Although it's only a short section, I can tell it's a happy song, Hai Tian said with a smile. Yes, although this song is a love song, it is written in an extremely free and easy way. Although I listen to less love songs, I particularly like this song, Qin Ji said with a smile. Then Commander, can you sing it from the beginning? Just think of it as singing it for me, Hai Tian asked expectantly. As long as you like to listen, Qin Ji said with a smile. When the mountains have no edges and corners. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 840. Chapter 840. An old man in the family passed away. I have been very busy these days. I will stop updating for a few days and resume updating when I am done. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 841. In the following time, everyone went to the mysterious and legendary territory, and saw the desolate land, sea, and desert. I also went to the Tibetan region on the plateau, witnessed the bluest sky in the world, and touched the highest mountain in the world. When returning by car, everyone seemed a little reluctant to leave, but time and schedule became increasingly tight, forcing them to make such a choice. A month passed so quickly, I didn't even feel anything. It was already over. Sitting next to Qin Ji, looking at the scenery outside the window, Veneto said with emotion. Haha, after all, we don't belong here, so to them, we are just passers-by. And isn't this what traveling is? The most important thing is what we see and feel, but we don't know what we get in the end. Qin Ji smiled. Indeed, especially when we were in Tibet, looking at the sky within reach, I felt that my whole soul had been baptized. It is the highest place in the world and the place closest to the gods. It really deserves its reputation. Richelieu sighed. Actually, I prefer the Mongolian region to the Tibetan region, New Jersey said with a smile, especially the feeling of riding horses and whipping with the commander. It is really interesting. It is a pity that Pennsylvania did not come, otherwise, she will be very happy to see this. Does Pennsylvania like riding horses? I don't know. It seems that we can build a horse farm on our island when there is time in the future. I found that Hyagakao Shung Vanguard and the others also like riding horses, Qin Ji said with a smile. This is a good idea. Anyway, the place where we are is big enough and we should be able to accommodate facilities like these. But fodder is a problem. After all, the climate in Mongolia is different from the climate here, Jinhai said with a smile. Indeed, I wonder if those horses are used to eating tropical grass, New Jersey said doubtfully. Qin Ji smiled and said, you don't have to worry about this. Just leave all these things to Akashi. After all, for that profiteer, as long as you give her money, she can come up with something unexpected. Haha, Commander, did you know? Akashi is currently studying a ship that can be carried by humans. Although it has no actual combat power, it can sail freely on the sea. When he completes the research, do you want me to get you a set? When we fight in the future, you won't have to stand on the command ship all the time, and you can watch us fight closer. Ruhi said. What are Ziwahi talking about? How could the commander come to the front line wearing that and watch us fight? The battlefield on the front line is too chaotic. Even if it is the most common mass-produced siren, we can use it without any fuss. They can destroy them with all their strength, but if the shells they fire injure the commander, the loss will be too great. Therefore, the most suitable place for a commander is on the command ship, rather than watching our battles at close range. Xiang he said quickly. Qin Ji smiled and touched his nose. Although I also want to fight side by side with you, Xiang he is right. After all, I am not as powerful as you. Even some near misses may kill me. So if there is such a ship outfit, I can go to the sea with you when I have nothing to do and enjoy the joy of gliding on the sea. As for fighting or something like that, it's better for me to stay back. After all, I am responsible for our entire fleet, not just for being brave and ruthless. Haha. After Qin Ji finished speaking, all the ship girls laughed. Well, Qin Ji shook his head helplessly, then looked in the direction of Hu Tang. Hu Tang, which place do you like? Hu Tang, who was standing at the edge of the crowd, was stunned for a moment when he heard Qin Ji's question, and then said, in the Tibetan region, although those snow-capped mountains seem far away in the horizon, when you walk, you suddenly find that they are right in front of you. This kind of it feels amazing. I quite like that feeling too, Qin Ji said with a smile. What about you, Shima Feng? Ah, are you asking me, Commander? Shimekaze said in surprise. I'm not asking who you are asking. Qin Ji smiled. Where do you prefer? The world of ice and snow or the grassland? Ha, I still prefer the desert in the territory, Shimekaze said, rubbing his head. Oh, I'm a little surprised. You actually like the desert, Qin Ji said in surprise. Yes, the desert is like the sea, and the sand dunes are like waves. The feeling of sandboarding in the desert is very similar to the feeling of galloping on the sea, but the two feelings are completely different. So compared to the more majestic scenery, I prefer deserts where people can have fun, Shimekaze said with a smile. Qin Ji could imagine what Dao Feng said, and then smiled and said, okay, it's imaginable. No wonder you have the most fun in the desert. He Shimekaze smiled sheepishly. Commander has asked so many people, but you haven't said where you like it most, Yuxian asked with a smile. Yes, where is the master? You had fun with everyone in every place, whether it was the ice and snow world, horse riding on the grassland, sandbathing in the desert, or walking on the plateau. So for the Lord, which place is your favorite? Amagi asked with a smile. Everyone looked at Qin Ji, who couldn't help but smile. I like every place here. Although the world is different, the scenery is the same, and they are very familiar to me. If I have to say I like one place, it would be every place where you are. The ship girls who were looking forward to Qin Ji's answer were stunned for a moment, and then they couldn't help laughing. Compared to other answers, perhaps this answer makes them happier. I didn't expect that the commander would say such touching words of love under the gaze of so many people. It really impressed my sister, Atago said with a smile. Yes, Commander, your answer is really good. Daifeng's favorite place is every place where Commander is, Daifeng said with a flushed face, as if he was about to pounce on him at any time. Well, listening to the admiration of the ship girls, Qin Ji quickly waved his hand. Stop talking about me, let's talk about the next step. After we return to Shenhua City, we are going to Chongying. We will stay in Chongying for a while, so if any of you are familiar with it, you can go and play together. Haha, speaking of Chongying, I'm afraid the two of us are the most familiar here, right? Akage looked at Qin Ji and smiled. The other person she was talking about was Kaga. Qin Ji couldn't help but roll his eyes when he saw the eagerness in Shishin's eyes. After all, he had not escaped the fox's grasp. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 842. To be honest, along the way, it was a bit difficult for Qin Ji to adapt to the situation in the mainland. There is a great sense of separation from coastal cities, and we even know very little about what is happening along the coast. Most people only know about the war that broke out along the coast, but they know very little about what kind of war it was and who the enemy was. Everyone seems to be living a preset life. Although it looks prosperous, it lacks a trace of vitality. Except for a very small number of people, it is difficult for Shin-Ji to have empathy. So most of the time Shin-Ji and the ship girls are in the wild. He prefers to look at these scenery than the set programs. Only then did he understand the fundamental reason why commanders were only recruited in coastal cities and not in the interior. Maybe Yuxian and others also tried it before, but it didn't have any effect, so they left it alone. Taking the train from Tibet back to hiking, Shin-Ji and others said goodbye to the special train they had always taken. Because from here they will take a plane to the city closest to the coast. There will be a special car sent by the Maritime Safety Administration to pick them up. The last part of the journey will be spent in a car. As soon as we arrived at the airport, we saw a different scene from the station. In comparison, there are not so many people and noisy sounds, and there is more harmony and tranquility. Of course, this is also related to the fact that Shin-Ji and the others took the exclusive channel. The plane waiting for them was not an ordinary passenger plane, but a military plane specially transferred from the war zone. It was just disguised as a passenger plane, but the crew members were all well-trained soldiers. After briefly saying hello and bidding farewell to his entourage, Shin-Ji boarded the plane with the ship girls with astonishment in their eyes. What a big plane! It's much bigger than the company's carrier-based planes. As soon as he got on the plane, New Jersey excitedly said next to Shin-Ji. His eyes kept looking back and forth, wanting to take a good look at what was inside the plane. Structure. It is indeed very large, and there is so much free space. If all of them carry aerial bombs, it will definitely be more powerful than the attack power of our aircraft carriers now. Bismarck touched his chin and said seriously. Just at this time, a female flight attendant in military uniform walked over. After hearing Bismarck's words, her eyes twitched. Shin-Ji, who turned around, saw clearly. Shin-Ji couldn't help but smile and didn't explain anything. Instead, he said to Bismarck, "The target is too big. For the Sirens Air Defense Force, this is equivalent to an aerial explosive depot. This is why the Air Force and civil aviation do not one of the reasons for wanting to have an airport in a coastal area. Maybe we don't think the Sirens' air defense power is very strong, but for ordinary large aircraft, they have no ability to fight back. Compared with the carrier-based aircraft of the aircraft carrier, it cannot shrink, cannot deform, and cannot be freely controlled by one's own mind. If it is just pure force, it can be used in battles without air defense, but most of them cannot. It is true that, as the commander said, this large transport aircraft is relatively bulky and unsuitable for our combat conditions, but I think it still has room for development. For example, if a mixed carrier-based fighter jet takes off together, the carrier-based fighter jet will provide escort for it, and after being converted into a ship-based outfit through a Rubik's Cube, it can also look like a ship-based outfit. At that time, what we will get is a brand new bomber. And once bombers like this carrying large yield bombs appear, it is inevitable for the strength of our aircraft carriers to increase. While improving their strength, it can also allow them to adapt to large-scale, long-range battles, so there is no need to go to the battlefield all the time like now. Just like what the commander once said about the fighter jets of your era, carrying out strikes at extreme distances beyond visual range, maybe we can also consider this direction. Bismarck explained. Shin-Ji blinked and pondered. What Bismarck said could not be said to be wrong. On the contrary, it was very reasonable. If it is really possible to convert such a huge carrier aircraft into a bomber and adapt it to the aircraft carrier, then it will definitely not be a small improvement in its attack power on the sea. Perhaps it can change the way aircraft carriers fight in the future. Although what Bismarck said can be realized, all carrier-based aircraft must be used on the ship's carrier. For such a huge aircraft, our flight deck is far from enough to take off. As huge as this, the aircraft must be replaced with ship equipment, and a corresponding flight deck is made before such a carrier-based aircraft can be allowed to take off. Just like the Hornet's B-25, although it was the aircraft she once carried, because the aircraft is too large, the number of takeoffs and the conditions for takeoff are very limited, so this kind of scientific research is not just about turning the aircraft into an aircraft carrier. Carrier-based aircraft are so simple. The most important thing is to make deck equipment suitable for the takeoff and landing of such aircraft. As a result, the amount of work is very huge, and it cannot be completed in a short time. It requires a long period of scientific research to make corresponding changes. Shi Kung said from the side. Apparently she also heard what Qin Ji and Bismarck discussed. Qin Ji nodded after listening. Indeed, there are very good aircraft, and they must be equipped with corresponding platforms. Only in this way can harmony be achieved and the aircraft carrier girl can freely control the aircraft. However, this point proposed by Bismarck is very good and can also be used as our next scientific research and experiment plan. After all, we can't always pick up people's advice. We still have a long time to come, and we may encounter enemies more powerful than the sirens. At that time, even the sirens and embers will not be able to help us. The only ones who can help us are us own. Therefore, self-reliance and self-research and development are things that must be implemented. The energy of the Rubik's Cube comes from higher dimensions, it can carry our imagination, and we are responsible for studying it, constantly developing it, and transforming its power into our own. Commander is becoming more and more leader-like now. While being down to earth, he also has a very long-term vision. It seems that I am not following the wrong person, Musashi said with a smile. Of course, the commander is the most powerful person, I admit. New Jersey smiled happily. What the commander said is that the new carrier-based aircraft and the platforms required for them should be the next research topic. After we complete our research on the scientific research ship girls, we will start to select a group of people to conduct research. Bismarck nodded. Qin Ji smiled and said, let's talk about this later. We are traveling now. Rather than leaving something memorable during the trip, it is more important. I'm looking forward to it, especially the moment of flying in the air. Thinking about it makes people tremble a little, Veneto said with a smile. Haha, it's not just you, look at those destroyers, they can't control themselves, Ruhi said with a smile. Ahem, Ruhi, go and tell them to get on the plane, and it's easy to lose weight when taking off. I don't want them to roll into a ball in the cabin, Qin Ji said speechlessly. Oh, okay, Commander. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 843. Although Qin Ji had never flown on a plane before, and this was his first time, he performed much better than these ship girls. Before the plane took off, there were shouts and screams throughout the cabin. The reason for Chongying was that there were many destroyers and submarines, and they were all very excited. As for Dong Huang, it was because of the presence of Hai Chi He. The excitement on these people's faces is effusive, so it's easy for people to feel it. Most of the more mature ship girls can control their novelty, just like Bismarck. Although they are also curious, they still pay more attention to their image and make some more decent actions. However, when the plane took off, the feeling of weightlessness still made many ship girls feel uncomfortable. Just like Yuxian and New Jersey sitting next to Qin Ji, although they didn't say anything, they already held Qin Ji's hand tightly. At this time, Qin Ji naturally did not point out their state intentionally. He just held their hands with his backhand and gave them a comforting and encouraging look. As the plane gradually climbed, this feeling gradually returned to normal. Thank you, Commander. New Jersey leaned into Qin Ji's ear and said softly, if I'm with other people, I'm afraid I'm going to make a fool of myself. Haha, these things don't matter, and it's my first time to fly, so I'm a little nervous. I can understand your mood. And do you think other people are not nervous? Chin-ji said with a smile. New Jersey was stunned for a moment, and then looked elsewhere. Sure enough, everyone's expressions were the same solemn, except for some more arrogant submarines and destroyers, who were still smiling. Ha, that makes me feel more at ease. New Jersey smiled and returned to his usual cheerful look. Just after the plane reached a high altitude and became stable, a figure quickly unfastened his seat belt, then rushed to Chin-ji's side and threw himself into his arms. Chin-ji was stunned for a moment, but found that the person coming was actually Dai Feng. He saw her whole body thrown into his arms. Perhaps due to the scratching, she, who was already a little disheveled, looked even more seductive and pitiful. "Commander, it was so scary when the plane took off just now. I was almost scared." Listening to Dai Feng's slightly crying voice, Chin-ji stretched out his hand to comfort him, but suddenly a sneer came from beside him. "Haha, as an aircraft carrier girl, she would be frightened by a plane taking off. She can't even make up a story, make it up." Chin-ji was stunned for a moment, then turned around and saw Akage sitting there leisurely with his legs crossed. He didn't feel nervous at all. The same was true for Kaga sitting next to him, but Magi on the other side looked a little, her face turned pale, and it was obvious that she, like New Jersey, was a little nervous just now. "Is the aircraft carrier girl adapted to flying?" Chin-ji asked doubtfully. He only knew that the aircraft carrier girl could control the plane to take off from her own deck, but he never thought that the aircraft carrier girl would not feel any tension or fear when flying. Following Chin-ji's question, Dai Feng's face froze in his arms, and then he said hurriedly, "No matter how others feel, I am still very scared." Chin-ji couldn't help but laugh after hearing this. He still knew Dai Feng's character. She was completely a slut, or a commander-in-chief. As long as he treated her a little better, she would faint with excitement. Therefore, I often approach myself for various reasons, appearing very humble, and I never tire of it even if I am blocked at every turn. In fact, he quite liked Dai Feng's character, but occasionally he would be a little speechless. "I know." Chin-ji smiled and touched Dai Feng's head, "but you haven't answered my question yet. Can the aircraft carrier girl adapt to flying on an airplane?" Akage on the side sneered, "Let me answer this question. As a part of the aircraft carrier, we can feel all its reactions. So for the aircraft carrier, the rise and fall of this aircraft, we have experienced it countless times, especially the top aircraft carrier girls, who have trained countless times and operated carrier-based aircraft countless times just to adapt to this feeling." Chin-ji nodded suddenly, "So that's the truth. So Commander, do you know what the person in front of you is thinking?" Akage stared at the flustered Dai Feng and sneered. Chin-ji smiled and said, "I know Dai Feng relatively well, so I didn't pay attention to her behavior at first. I was just a little surprised that the aircraft carrier girl could adapt to the aircraft so quickly. Finally, I figured out what the principle was. Commander." Dai Feng was moved to death for a moment, and his whole body was rubbed into Chin-ji's arms. "Ahem, but at least we have to pay attention to some effects, and at least put on our clothes," Chin-ji said, reaching out to pull up Dai Feng's clothes that exposed 2 shoulders. "Commander is too spoiled to her, which will make her more and more lawless in the future." Akage narrowed his eyes and said. Chin-ji smiled and shook his head, "I believe Dai Feng will know his limits. It's okay to get close occasionally. Don't you like this too, Akage?" Tisk. Akage clicked his tongue lightly and said nothing more. "But having said that, is this what it feels like to fly in the sky? It's very interesting." Musashi, who was sitting at the window, turned his head and said to Chin-ji, "Looking down from here, you can have a panoramic view of the mountains, rivers, and rivers. No wonder the ancient at that time, so many people wanted to fly higher, and it turns out that the scenery here is so beautiful. Haha, I believe this is just the beginning, and we will definitely fly higher in the future. Whether we rely on the power of technology or our own strength, one day our battlefield will not be as simple as being on the sea, Qin Ji said with emotion. It's not just the sea? Did the commander expect something? Bismarck looked at Qin Ji and asked. In the corner, Reputation and Counterattack were also watching Qin Ji closely, because they knew the final outcome of the series of events, but now that Qin Ji said it, they had some doubts. Qin Ji, who knew that he had leaked something, quickly explained, "What I mean is the same as the name I gave to the fleet before. Our journey is between the stars and the sea. If we just limit our talents to the sea, then it's such a shame to live up to our efforts. Our abilities should be in more places, even among the stars. I believe it is possible." Haha, Commander's ideals are lofty, but that's not a bad thing. It's always good to have dreams, Musashi said with a smile. We have just begun to make progress. There is not much time left for us. We should work harder. Bismarck nodded, and then said to Qin Ji, "Commander, this time we return to Shenhua City and we will set off. Let's go to Chongsakura." My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 844. When the plane slowly landed, Qin Ji and his wife finally ended this journey. When I got off the plane, I saw Kang Long and the others who came to pick them up. Haha, looking at you, I feel like I've been having a lot of fun on this journey. Kang Long approached Qin Ji and said with a smile. Qin Ji nodded, "That's it? Thank you very much, Director Kang Long, for coming to greet us. You are still so polite as always." Kang Long smiled, "We have been together for so long, it's okay to be more normal. Actually, this is not a kind of familiarity. If you change your attitude again, it will be a new acquaintance," Qin Ji said with a smile. "Oh, that's right." Kang Long smiled and nodded, "Let's get in the car together first. Are you going to take a rest or go back to the Commander Academy directly?" "Go back to the Commander's Academy and tidy up. It's time for us to leave Donghuang," Qin Ji said. "So soon? I heard that Yuxian is planning to hold another banquet for you," Kang Long said with some surprise. Qin Ji smiled and shook his head, "It's not too soon. We have stayed in Dunhuang for a long enough time. We originally planned to travel to Chongying for almost a month, but this time it far exceeded that time. Look, our time in Chongying has to be shortened again. There is no crisis in the sea area now. You can treat it as a vacation and stay longer," Kang Long said. "Actually, I want to do that too, but there are some things I need to do later and I may not have that much time," Qin Ji explained. Kang Long smiled, "Okay, then I won't continue to inquire. Anyway, if you have time, you are always welcome to Donghuang. You can park the ship directly at the port of the Maritime Safety Administration next time, and there is no need to bother every time." Whales. Qin Ji couldn't help laughing and nodded, "Actually, I'm just used to it. If you follow the normal procedures, you should report to the Maritime Safety Administration first. But you also know that I am the honorary instructor of the Commander Academy, so I went back directly. The Commander Academy is also normal. So I don't blame you," Kang Long said with a smile. "Get in the car." Everyone got in the car and returned to the Commander Academy together. It was already dark at this time, and there was no delay. Perhaps it was because they were familiar enough in Donghuang and everything was as usual. The next day, under the farewell of Donghuang senior officials, the Prince of Wales and others, Qin Ji took his ship girls and sailed away from the port of the Commander Academy and embarked on a journey to Chongying. All the way north along the coastline, the sea breeze in Donghuang is still relatively warm. Although there is a hint of chill in the wind, it is still a suitable day for sailing. After driving for a day, Qin Ji unexpectedly ran into several acquaintances. "Long time no see, King Kong and Kaohsiung Qin-Ge invited a few people to the command ship and said with a smile, "Long time no see, Commander Qin-Ge. It has been 3 or 4 years since Chongying returned that day. Although we have not met each other, the legend of Commander Qin-Ge rings in our ears every day." King Kong said with a smile. Qin-Ge looked at a few people, and memories gradually came to his mind. At that time, he had just arrived in the first year of the Commander's Academy, and Bismarck, Veneto, and others were already gathered around him. For the benefit of Dong Huang, I went to Chongsakura. By chance, I built Shinano, and also obtained the blueprint of my first scientific research ship girl. Among them, those responsible for sending each other were King Kong, Kaohsiung, and others in front of them. Commander Qin-Ge's fleet looks a bit powerful. I just saw that the auras emanating from the command ships next to him are not weak. It seems that just like the rumors, Commander Qin-Ge can already break up with several major camps. It's too cunning. King Kong smiled. Haha, it's just good luck. Qin-Ge laughed. This cannot be summed up by good luck, Kaohsiung said with some sigh. At the beginning, we were still thinking about Xinyu to see if we could join Commander Qin-Ge's fleet, but we didn't expect that if we missed it like this, we would miss it forever. Qin-Ge was stunned. Such a thing did happen back then. Just when he was about to speak, Xinyu beside him said with a smile, "Sister Kaohsiung, you don't need to say that. In fact, we have been living happily these years, haven't we? I believe that even though we did not join Commander Qin-Ge's fleet, it will not delay us from dedicating our due efforts to Azalane." Qin-Ge smiled and nodded. Xinu is right. Maybe you can see more scenery by following me, but you are not as calm and fulfilling as you are now. Every choice corresponds to the subsequent result, but every paragraph the journey is a wonderful life. Indeed. King Kong nodded. By the way, is Commander Qin-Ge going to Chongying this time? I see that if you continue to go in the direction, it should be Chongying. Qin-Ge nodded. Yes, our destination this time is Chongying. You are also coming back from Chongying, right? That's right, we accepted a mission to escort merchant ships. Although there are almost no mass-produced siren warships on the sea now, we are not afraid of 10,000 or just in case. These uploads still need people to travel between various camps. Escort, King Kong said. So how is the situation in Chongying now? How is the recovery and reconstruction going? Qin-Ge asked. Chongying is doing pretty well. With Commander Qin-Ge's assistance before, the losses were within an acceptable range. However, like Dong Huang, the front line setup has been cancelled while restoring and rebuilding. Switch to offshore defense strategy, Kaohsiung said. That's good. After chatting with King Kong, Kaohsiung and others for a while, everyone left in a hurry. Now they are on a mission and cannot stay on Qin-Ge's command ship for too long. Watching the retreating figures of several people, Kaohsiung and King Kong from another command ship ran over. "Commander, who are they?" King Kong asked doubtfully. "Friends, I have known each other since the earliest days. I feel very happy to see them active in the sea again after experiencing the siren tide," Qin-Ge explained. "I heard that they wanted to join the fleet before," Kaohsiung asked. Qin-Ge smiled and said, "No, in fact, they are more like free ship girls, and they know the Glory and North Carolina better. They really wanted Xinyu to join my fleet before. After all, Xinyu's power was still relatively weak at that time, but compared to joining a fleet with a commander, Xinyu was still willing to stay with them, so in the end it was just let it go. Now I see that it's just a matter of saying hello to each other and saying hello. After all, I only know a few people in this world, and I cherish each one of them. I see, this world is so wonderful, but I am very grateful to the commander for not letting them join our fleet, otherwise I might not be here anymore," King Kong said with a smile. Ha, who could say for sure at the time?